Special Friday edition. Cosmo Baker, what's good?
I'm asking questions.
Shout out to everybody, wherever you might be watching, whether you are watching on Twitch, YouTube,
I'm asking questions.
Twitter, Facebook. I think that might be all of them. I'm not too sure. It's The Questions, episode 103. Today, we've got a very special and unique show. Episode 103 of your favorite hip-hop trivia show. Today, we are celebrating and looking back and reflecting on the bracket tournament that kind of set our little sphere of the internet on fire. It was the 21st Century Hip Hop Album bracket tournament, and we are welcoming our winner as well as one of our finalists to the show. So join me in welcoming Max Bell and David Rhodes. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
Appreciate you having me, man.
We're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff. Shout out to everybody watching and joining us in various pockets of the internet. Cosmo Baker, I almost feel like I would give you an open invitation if you want to join us. Shoot me a DM. We can maybe have an appearance from, the legendary Cosmo Baker, former guest of the show. But before we get into that, I want to welcome our guests today. We've got Max Bell, who emerged victorious as the grand prize winner in our sort of playoff bracket. And then David Rhodes, who was one of the finalists as well. So, Max, I want to start with you. What was your, internal strategy and feeling during all of the shenanigans that we went through for the better part of almost a month?
I think I didn't glance at the winners week to week too much or anything like that. But my strategy when filling out the bracket was just a very rudimentary calculus of like what I've come to believe is popular opinion and what I think questions viewers and followers would pick for those particular brackets.
So did you feel like you sort of were those two different things, like your personal preference and then what you thought the general crowd might sort of lean towards?
Oh, entirely. Yeah, as it always is.
Okay. All right. We're going to get into that. And Max, you are a writer based in LA. You have written for the LA Times, NPR, Spin. How's life? I'm in LA as well, but how has life been for you in the last couple of weeks?
Not too bad. I'm living in Long Beach these days. So LA County as opposed to LA, although I'm broadcasting from Santa Monica. I know I'm all over.
Wow.
Yeah, life's been okay. I have, thank you for mentioning all that I have going on. I write a column for Spin magazine every month that spotlights rising rap talent around the U.S. So the most recent one just came out on Monday, and that was on a gentleman named AJ Suede that I recommend everyone check out, rapper out of Seattle, though originally from New York.
Great. Yeah, we'll definitely be checking for that. We'll talk about that more. Now, David Rhodes, you are on the East Coast, as far as I know. Where are you on the East Coast?
I currently live in Rhode Island, in East Providence, Rhode Island. So,
was that like a tie-in to your name? Were you drawn to that, or what was the, or is the Rhodes? Did you adopt that once you moved to Rhode Island?
I wish I owned the state, but unfortunately, I don't. I'm originally from the Carolinas. I'm originally from South Carolina.
Got it. I'm going to claim being the first person who's ever come up with a brilliant pun to tie the state that you're living in to your last name. I feel like
and they still misspell my name, which is incredible.
Unbelievable. So what I do know about you is that you are a certified hip hop head. You often amass many recordings as well of the Roots, amongst other acts as well. But I've been downloading and grabbing audio that you have kindly and sometimes, just very nobly uploaded to the internet for years now. So your rap fanaticism speaks for itself in that regard. What was your strategy for you in terms of filling out your bracket?
Well, for me, I didn't really focus on what the base like Max did. It was just of albums that I enjoyed, like albums that I went back to more. I mean, I didn't always go about the reverence part. I was shocked that I made it as a finalist because of it, because I made some picks that the popular folks wouldn't, like the general public wouldn't pick. So from that standpoint, I just said I'm going to pick the albums that I like, and I was fortunate enough to pick the winner too. So that's probably why I made it to the end.
Yeah. So that was we're going to get into that. So I sort of thought about how we were going to do this today, and I was initially thinking. Also, shout out to Dom Synchro in the chat on YouTube. He was the winner of our March Madness when we did this, and we're probably going to do another one at some point, guys. The engagement is just too good. We just got to think of another sort of category or title to put it under. But we had thousands of people voting, and less who submitted brackets, but a sizable amount. So, shout out to our winners who are here today. You guys, whether you were playing to the crowd or just going with your gut, it seems to have worked in both of your favors. So I guess there's no like surefire formula to do it. So I was originally going to have you guys face off against each other tonight, but I think what makes it more interesting is actually having you guys team up. This is like a buddy cop movie almost. It's like he's a white writer on the West Coast. He's a black man on the East Coast. Like hilarity ensues. They don't like each other, but if they want to get through this, they've got to make it work. So if you guys are down to do that, I think we're gonna get into some trivia and again, this is a real loose one, and I just want to talk and unpack everything that we sort of were thinking about in these past few weeks. So if you guys are cool with that, we can get into it.
Works for me.
Awesome. All right. So in theme of that, tonight's theme is all going to be about albums from the last 20 years. So no need to pull out any of your 80s or 90s almanacs. That shit is not on the table tonight. But I just wanted to take a look. And for those of you guys watching, we've got people on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. We did this 21st Century Hip Hop Playoff Bracket. The winner wound up being Mad Villainy. I think if I tilt to a certain side, now it's on my record shelf back there, but obviously a record that holds near and dear in the hearts of probably everybody who is going to be watching this at one point or another. But we're going to get into our first question. So you guys, you can kind of tag team it or confer with each other, but you guys are a team. So, just make sure you know the answer, because I'd hate for one of you to fumble the ball and then the other is caught, standing there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a great sport analogy. I'm killing it right now. All right. So we're going to get into question number 1 of our round. The choice is yours. General multiple choice. And if you guys want to confer with the chat, I will also allow one per round. We can bring in people in the chat and they will appear on the screen. So here we go. Let's get into it. Jay-Z tapped this producer to get behind the boards on a Black Album song that interpolated a 1990 Madonna single. Was it Kanye West, Just Blaze, DJ Quick, or Timbaland?
It's a tough one. I know that several of those producers are on the record.
They are.
I know Quick is on the record, which some people don't remember. This is a tough one, Dave. I may have to defer to you on this one.
I mean, look, guys, let's just be clear. I knew, we have different types of guests with varying levels of expertise who come on this show. I know who is coming on this show tonight. So, I'm not, there's no softballs in here. But,
you know that I have the benefit of Google whenever I write anything, right?
Well, that's right. That is correct.
If I did, but that would also mean that you have done a lot of Googling in your time, and I would argue that perhaps you've retained some of that information.
You'd be mistaken.
Well, what are you guys thinking? You guys sort of, are
I'm trying to in my head right now. I'm trying to think about DJ Quick was absolutely on this album.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's
Kanye.
quick. I'm thinking quick. I'm thinking quick.
I
I'm
mean,
leaning.
I'd be fine with that. My only thing is I'm like thinking that Kanye is probably like more inclined to sample Madonna than DJ Quick. But at the same time, DJ Quick interpolated Nirvana on Let's Get
Yeah.
Down. So he's definitely a 90s interpolator. I'd be fine with Quick just picking him in general.
I know I'm
Not
probably wrong, but I'm gonna roll with quick.
All right, we've got a hesitant vote for Quick. We're gonna see
Yeah.
what the answer is. You guys, I think you got to give yourself a little bit more credit than you've been given, because the answer is
Give me heaven, I raise hell.
Yeah.
I knew it was
That's what I was
Justify My
thinking.
Thug.
I knew it was Justify My Thug, and I was like, quick did that one. So I was like, okay, I knew it was them. I
So-
just had to be sure.
So let's talk about the Black Album. The Black Album, I'm checking, I have the file here that sort of was the results for everything. The Black Album made it to the Sweet 16 and then was eliminated. It got beat out by Kanye West, the college dropout.
Yeah.
Cosmo Baker, yes, he's in the chat. He's saying it's Justify My Thug. Yeah, everybody's going nuts. Where do you guys think the Black Album stands in Jay-Z's sort of catalog here? And a lot of people really hate this song, Justify My Thug. What do you guys think about this song?
Well, for me, I like this song. I actually enjoy this song. That's what my memory. I had to get into my banks to remember that Quick did that song. But for me, in the whole hierarchy rankings, I got it third.
Third. Max, what about you?
Well, I'm curious what Dave has at 1 and 2.
Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt, 1 and 2.
We are in agreement on all three of those. What is your 1 and 2? What is your 1?
Blueprint,
Okay,
Reasonable Doubt.
I
know most folks have Reasonable Doubt 1.
Yeah, I just wrote a piece, 25th anniversary retrospective on Reasonable Doubt. So I'm like at the moment more partial to that, and that was my first Jay-Z record, so I fell in love with that one first. So I think that's why I give it the 1. But I could see arguments for putting Blueprint at 1. I can't really see any other arguments for any other 2 Jay-Z albums being 1.
No, you can't. Like now, some people would put Volume 2 at 1, but for me, no, some people would do it. I know folks that would legitimately do it because that was his breakthrough album.
Sure.
So I can understand it. I just don't agree with. Like, I don't have Volume 2 in my top 5. So I'm a tougher critic of Volume 2 than most from that standpoint. But
I'm a pretty tough critic of like every volume. Actually, I would say that you could probably take the 3 volumes in my lifetimes and compile them the best from each one, and you'd have a phenomenal album that I would say could probably even compete with 1 and 2 if you took the best of.
I'm kind of surprised that nobody has done that, unless I'm missing out and somebody has done that. But that's actually a really crazy idea to sort of do a best of the volumes of In My Lifetimes. Like
for me, from the volumes, my favorite one has always been 3.
Okay.
And I'm probably like a minority in that.
I think you are.
Because most folks would put 1. Most folks would say 1. But I think like some of the misses in 1 were bad, man. And
it's about 50%. It's 50% lyrics on that.
And like Volume 3 had some vicious moments for me.
Okay.
Dope Man, Come and Get Me, NYMP, like it had some vicious moments for me. So
where I'm from is Volume 1 or 2.
That's Volume 1. That is the moment. And I was so happy that Jabe started performing it again.
Where I'm from is probably a
top 5 J. Top 5 J track.
And it happens to be on a record that I wouldn't necessarily put in the top 3. So again, the highs of Volume 1 are very high because he was still coming off, that Reasonable Doubt, and I imagine there was some crossover in the recording.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, Jay-Z was in here a couple times. Obviously, he's an artist who probably out of any artist you could name has just as strong or considerably as strong a catalog from the 20th century and the 21st century. There's not many who have as many that can sort of stand on both sides of the fence. I just, I was curious to see what you guys thought. David, I kind of got to agree with you. I never quite understood the vitriolic hate that Justify My Thug got on the Black Album. It's not one of my favorite songs per se, but my theory behind that is actually that because of what the initial concepts of what the Black Album was supposed to be, there was supposed to be like no singles, and it was going to be, you know, like one joint from each producer. And then, you know, to have him with somebody like DJ Quick, which is sort of, you know, on paper, you're like, ooh, what is this going to sound like? I think a lot of people just, the anticipation doomed a song like that to feel like a letdown. But I never thought that it was a whack song by any means.
If I told you what my least favorite song on that album, y'all might be shocked by it.
Well, you better say it.
Change Clothes and Go.
That's not shocking. It's one of the worst songs on the album.
Yeah.
Man, I know so many people that love that song. Whenever I say I hate it, I hate it, man. I hate it.
Awful. I hated it when it was on the radio.
And like that song reminds me of how Jay can really miss on singles. Like I was a thing in Volume 1, 2. He missed on Sunshine.
Yeah.
Sunshine, mistake.
Change Clothes is the one where he's talking about a crisp pair of jeans and a button-up, right? That's the line from Change Clothes, which is just like, that didn't age well either.
No.
Nobody's doing that anymore. That didn't age well either.
No.
So I love Justify My Thug. So
anything with DJ Quick, I'm inclined to say yes.
Exactly.
All right. Since I'm here, one says that was trash. He agrees with you there. I don't think that's a hot take. And I'll go a step further. I think that while Change Clothes is not one of my favorite songs, I almost can't listen to Encore anymore because of the Kanye clap. It is such, and if you guys don't know, if you guys are maybe need to revisit that, anybody watching this, go back and listen to that. That is, Kanye gets a lot of accolades as a producer, but I'm going to go ahead and issue a controversial statement here. Drum programming is questionable at best at times in this man's career. There are some real spotty drums in your boy's discography.
Yeah.
But I
know we're gonna talk about Kanye a lot because he actually did well in this bracket. So
he did, and you know what? We're gonna move on to the next one. I'm allowed to be a little more spicy in this. Normally, I play a more neutral host, but I sort of feel like I'm in my element here. Yeah,
we got two okay players in here, man. We're not gonna be we're gonna be spicy in this.
Possibly a third. I wouldn't put it past Max.
Yeah, Max might be one too.
Max, were you on that side at all at any point? Okay, player.
I mean, I read it. But I wasn't part of the message boards. No.
Got it. Well, you probably had a healthier life than we had, but
I think I might also be just a little bit younger.
Okay.
Yeah, but remember, man, we run the world, so
it is true. Cosmo. Dom Synchro says with the bongos. Yeah, the bongos were definitely calling card of those impeccable yay drums.
Yeah.
Cosmo Baker says Encore drums are trash. That's Hey, man, I didn't want to say it, Cosmo, but you can say that. All right, we're gonna move on because we're gonna meander a lot, so we got to keep a tight ship running here. Which of these Roots albums, speaking of OK Player, which of these Roots albums was the first to be released after the band landed their gig on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon? Was it Game Theory?
C.
Writing down How I Got Over or Undone. He says C. Max, what do you say?
I defer to Dave. He's the Roots expert.
C.
You gotta know. Right. You gotta know your team.
Yeah, you got to play to the strengths. So let's see. How I Got Over. You guys are hearing the music too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Very cool. I had a scare last week with Dell, and we went 2/3 of the game, and he wasn't hearing anything. So I was like, How I Got Over, another album that did pretty well. We had Roots on Roots competition in our bracket where we had Game Theory and How I Got Over head to head. Is How I Got Over the best album that the Roots did in the 21st century?
Not for me.
Okay, Max, what do you say?
I would say I have no real opinion on this one, if I'm going to be honest. The 21st century Roots albums have just been kind of something I've listened to about once, and I just went back to the 90s stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely not a hot take. I think a lot of people definitely would agree with you. David, what's your take on the best Roots album of the 21st century and the Roots, output in general in the past 2 decades?
I think the best album they had in the 21st century was Game Theory. I mean,
agree.
That was 08, right?
06.
Yeah, that was 6.
That was 06.
Yeah.
That was their
two
that was their
albums
Def Jam debut.
Yeah. And that was Jay-Z basically told them not to embarrass him by trying to go commercial. And he was like, just make an art record. And they did. They made like, what was one of the first, they did a few of these, but like just kind of like a sad hip hop record. They made like a pretty like sad, melancholy effort. I didn't always love How I Got Over. When it came out, I was a little like hot and cold with it, but it grew on me a lot over the years. And I remember seeing the Roots at a show maybe like 4 or 5 years ago and making conversation with somebody who was a little bit younger than me in the crowd. And they said that How I Got Over was their favorite album that the band had ever done. I kind of looked at him like he was crazy, but I get it a little bit more now because, where you are matters.
The album's good. I'm not saying that it was a bad album by any stretch. I think the album's outstanding. I just think if you're gonna ask me, I was shocked at how far it went. I will say that. But if you're gonna ask me the best rap album of this 21st century, it's probably 4th.
Right. Like
give and take.
You're taking Game Theory is number 4 in your overall ranking.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about like if you're talking like from since 2000,
yeah,
it goes Game Theory. Then I'll put Phrenology ahead of it. I'll put Undone ahead of it, and then I'll put How I Got Over.
Got it.
Then Rising Down. Because I didn't even have How I Got Over get past the first round of my bracket.
Wow. All right.
It lost to The Fix.
Scarface definitely did not get much love.
I don't understand, man. I don't understand.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a whole conversation about your diss to the South in this entire bracket.
Well, let's get into it right now. I mean, you have that thought that let's do this. I mean, yeah, what we're
funny you say that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into it.
Well, yeah, no, I was gonna say like obviously it is a Herculean task to narrow down to 64 albums, and I know that we asked everybody to list what their overlooked album was in all of this, but I was surprised to see that the South acts that did well. I wasn't to be honest, because our audience and the general underground hip hop or true school hip hop audience oftentimes maybe neglects the South a little bit. But Max, what were the glaring omissions Southwise that sort of stood out to you?
I mean, if you're going to talk about the South in Southern rap in the 21st century and not mention Young Thug or Future, it's kind of like a conversation you're not really having.
Sure.
So those were the two glaring omissions that I could see. I also see, like, I'm glad that The Fix was included because I think that's one of a few 5 mic albums from Scarface.
Right.
Yep.
And that is an incredible album. That's the one that has the Jay-Z verse, Talk to Me, on Guess Who's Back. That's
yeah.
Well, they had Jay. It's funny, Scarface had Jay and Nas on that album when they were still beefing at the time. Separate tracks, but still.
Yep. Yeah.
And then that was his first album on Def Jam South when he was running Def Jam South at the time. So he came with a vengeance on this record. And as big as a Root fan I am, How I Got Over is not better than The Fix, guys.
No, it's not. It's really not. I'm glad we can agree.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Southern rappers. Big Crit I didn't see on there, and I would say his Return of Forever album is actually one of my favorite records from the 2000s of the blog era. It should have been his Def Jam debut. I don't know why it wasn't. I think it was sample clearances. Because it never came out it's not on streaming anywhere apart from YouTube Music. And there was a brief limited vinyl run years after the fact, but there was never any hard copies of that. And Live from the Underground was just nowhere near. But in terms of a Southern rap record, Crit is from Mississippi, I believe.
He is from Mississippi.
Yeah. So that for me, just like if you're gonna have J. Cole in the mix, then you got to have his. Probably like as close as you're going to get to his Southern analog, even though I don't like to say kind things about J. Cole.
Yes. Opinions are running hot in here, folks.
Well, from the South, man, like I'm not going to beat you up as much about the lack of Future in it. I mean, you caught Rick Ross in there, and I'm not even the biggest Rick Ross fan. You caught T.I. in there.
Yep.
Yeah,
You could have put a Luda album in there.
Word of mouth.
Could have put one. You
Word
could
of
have put
mouth?
one of them in there.
Word of mouth.
mean,
you think word of mouth?
Probably word of mouth. Like, you could have put one of them in there. I mean, Outkast really didn't have too many options from that standpoint. I mean, you only had 2 options. So, I mean, you picked the right one there. You covered Killer Mike. You covered Run the Jewels. I'll count them as a Southern act, but Killer Mike is one half of the group. I mean, it's a mix.
Well,
but
rap music is in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He covered Killer Mike.
Yes.
You got Little Brother in there.
Rhapsody was in there.
Rhapsody made it in there. J. Cole made it in there. So I was like, all right. So you didn't beat the South up as much. You got Scarface in there. I just don't think the South got love in the bracket as much as it probably should have.
Yeah, no,
I think that tracks historically.
The thing is, the South's been running it, but it's been mostly trap that's been doing it. So, but like for me, I'm not a big trap guy, even though I'm from the South. I've just never been a big trap guy.
Of the T.I. albums, I was actually surprised you went with King as opposed to trap music, because trap music is my first T.I. love, so
sure.
I think it's the stronger album.
Well, I mean, or even like I didn't mind King, but even you consider Paper Trail. Like if you want to talk about Paper Trail as well. So like but the thing is, you had King. Even I had King pass that round too. So
yeah. I mean, it's like I said, we tried to go with as objective of a methodology to selecting these, and we had different people weigh in, and a lot of the artists even that we're mentioning here were on the long list of there was I think we came to about like 150 potentials, and then it just becomes like fuck, like how do we do
no, I mean hats off to you, man.
Man, it's a tough task.
Yeah.
No,
you did a fantastic job. I was pleased with just the choices that I was able to decide between. Since we're here airing grievances and everyone, you don't escape that, and you can take shots at me later.
Yes, no, absolutely. Is it really even a successful bracket if it doesn't madden people and get their blood boiling a little bit?
Well, you know what? One glaring artist I was shocked that wasn't on this bracket.
Tell me.
Eminem.
That is surprising.
Eminem, like, because
we're talking about it.
I liked Eminem show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Eminem show get enough credit for how good it is, how good of an album it is.
It has some tracks.
So when I looked, I was like, wow. Because Marshall Mathers LP can't get there.
Right.
Slim Shady can't get there. But I was like, Eminem show's part of that trio. So I was like, that should have made it on there.
I ran that album a lot.
I mean, I think most of us did at various points. I think for me personally, that was like the Eminem album that I sort of started to. I was never like a huge stan, as it were, but but that might have been my like departure point. But it was. I know it is regarded as one of as one of the seminal albums of his catalog. And it was on the short list or long list, I guess we can call it. I don't know. I think that for the consensus with a lot of the people who are weighing in, and by the way, you guys are grandfathered in now. Whenever we do another one of these, you are now in the inner circle of the questions trial by committee. I think that Eminem's overall career since then has maybe soured some people on the earlier stuff. Thoughts?
Yeah, but the thing, but at the same time, for me, it's more like, okay, his last stuff has been rough. He's had an occasional sparks, but his last stuff has been rough. But I can't take away his first 3 albums. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be a little bit less polite and say that if Eminem retired after 2003, we'd all be better off.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Now, I'm not gonna argue there, but at the same time, yeah, it's to the point now that every album he drops, it tarnishes it a bit. Like he's still in my top 10, but he's slowly falling down below that. So with every album, unless he gets closer to that Eminem show, Marshall Mathers LP range, he's gonna keep falling down my list, and somebody's gonna.
He was still shooting 50%. When the Eminem show was out, he was still there.
All right, guys, we got to move on to our next question. We're going into question 3. Lupe Fiasco has revealed that the song Hip Hop Saved My Life was written about this rapper. Was it Common, Slim Thug, Busta Rhymes, or Scarface? He did an interview and has revealed soon after the single was released that the song was inspired and written about one of these rappers.
My gut says Common just because of the Chicago connection.
I'm rolling with Common.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Scarface, quite honestly.
It's either A or D.
It's definitely not B or C. There's no way it's Slim Thug. They're contemporaries, pretty much. And Busta Rhymes, I just don't feel like.
I'm gonna laugh if it is Slim Thug.
I'll be very surprised if it's Slim Thug, but that's a nice wild card that Sean threw in there. If it is in fact a wild card.
All right, guys, I need a final answer here.
You ready? You comfortable with A? I'm comfortable with A.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with A. The chat disagrees with us, so the chat might be right.
Chat has Google. I'm not cheating here, guys.
Yeah, they're taking the high road here. What up, Lady Sketch? Lady Sketch is watching on YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching on the various platforms. We're here with Max Bell and David Rhodes. They say that Lupe Fiasco wrote Hip Hop Saved My Life inspired by Common. Let's see what the answer is.
Dedicate.
Slim was the answer.
They all were right.
They were right.
I have the right to be in denial.
Well,
I couldn't. Too. What was the explanation, Sean?
He basically said, I believe it was an interview with MTV News, that he was sort of inspired by Slim Thug, and he was sort of like looking at his career, even though he was more of a contemporary of his, and sort of wrote from the perspective of a rapper coming up in the South. If Lupe Fiasco has proven anything, especially in the early parts of his career, is that he's going to take the contrarian position to what you think he should be doing, or
you're right.
Influences.
Like when I was looking at the chat and I was seeing them pick B, I was thinking it's probably Slim. It's probably B.
Oh, you're looking at the chat over here.
I can get rid of the chat.
No, okay. I'll open the chat. Okay, so now we're playing fair game here. But I was going no chat, blind.
Nah, because they've been having some dope comments, so that's why I kept.
What are you watching the chat on, David? What platform are you?
I'm on the Melon app, so I can see the chat
you can see the chat in the Melon app. I just can't type in it. Got it. Good to know. I'm still learning Melon app as we go along here. So Lupe Fiasco was another guy. Comedian Tony Baker, who's a big fan and former guest of the show, he messaged me at one point and was livid that Lupe Fiasco was not getting enough love in this tournament. Lupe had 3 albums that were in here, if I'm remembering correctly, and did not make it past the first round on any of them. Do you guys think that is outrageous, or that kind of makes sense?
I only had one of his albums getting past the first round.
Which was?
TNY. Testing Youth.
Got it.
I couldn't deny Merle. Sorry. Yeah. I couldn't do it. I couldn't deny Merle.
PMP, Rashad and Dave show we are with the winners of our playoff tournament to determine the greatest hip hop album of the 21st century. So that's who these guys are. Max, Lupe, thoughts? Yay, nay, lukewarm?
As far as albums go, I wouldn't say that he's one of the stronger artists in this bracket. I would say Lupe is more someone I evaluate on more of a verse to verse basis than even a song to song basis.
The thing is, he had some dope albums, but the problem is he ran into some tough competition. Like he went up against the Minstrel Show on one of them. I can't do that. So, and I'm looking at the bracket now. What was the other matchup he had?
He went up against the Clips.
Yeah, he went up against the Clips. Hell Hath No Fury.
Yeah, I had TNY beat that.
If he hadn't gone up against Doom in the first one, I would have given.
Yeah, he had Doom in the other one. There was no way.
There was no way he was going to beat him.
No way.
Yeah. So that was just a tough draw for Lupe because Food and Liquor is a good album.
Yeah, it is. But he ran into food. He ran into food.
Yeah, he ran into food.
Poetic. All right, we're gonna move on to the final question of our first round. Speaking of food, man, guys, when the transitions work like this,
There you go.
you know, there's a higher power. What food is not in a song title on MF Doom's Food? Is it beer, beans, gumbo, or knishes?
One beer.
It's not
It's
A.
beans.
It's not D. I'm pretty sure it's B.
It's beans.
I'm pretty
Because
sure it's B.
gumbo was a track. Rap snitches. Tell them
Yeah,
that you- so,
yeah. Rap
you know.
snitches, knishes, and
Yeah.
one last beer left.
Yep.
So
Yep. So it's beans.
We got some
Beans.
Doom heads.
gotta be beans.
I picked this
Sir.
beat because it's like sounds almost like farting.
There
Right?
you go.
And beans.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see what I did. MF Doom obviously was very victorious in this whole thing. And I had a few people in the comments and in the DMs sort of you know, respectfully saying that maybe if we had done this a year ago, Mad Villain wouldn't have taken it. Do you think
I
this?
disagree. I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree. It would have won. It would have won if they did it in 2015. It would have won if it did it in 2010. It would have won if we did it in 2018.
So let's just get to it then. Unabashedly, what I'm hearing you say, David, is that Mad Villainy is the album of the 21st century so far.
Absolutely.
Max, agree or disagree?
It'd be a tough one to disagree with. I mean, I don't know if there's another record that wherein the rapper is that technically proficient, the production is that inventive and avant-garde, and is that respected by a variety of like rap spheres. I mean, because you have the Stones Throw Underground contingent, but that record crossed over. I mean, you know, there's still that footage that I watch, you know, when Doom passed of Mos Def just wilding out in the studio about how great, incredible of a lyricist Doom is. I don't think there's even a rapper, you know, contemporarily, even amongst all these SoundCloud kids. I'm gonna sound really old and just saying that. I wish I had gone with a different choice of words. Who don't know who he is. I mean, you know, and the Tylers of the creators of the world respect him and love him. I just don't know if there's another rapper who crossed generational and rap spheres in the same way that Doom did. I mean, part of it's the persona, you know. I mean, that mask and the packaging of it, you know, iconic. You know, shout out to Eric Coleman of Mochilla who shot the photo for that one. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, and like Dave was saying, I don't think that his passing, rest in peace, had really anything to do with that.
I mean, you could have a debate for food, but I'm not having a debate for Mad Villainy.
Sure,
not doing it.
Neither am I.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
I just remember when it came out, when Mad Villainy came out, that was like the year of Doom. And the thing is, it came out the same year that everybody was trying to figure out who Kanye West was, because that was his college dropout days. But the reality is, Doom had from the standpoint of quality content, Doom had a much stronger year. The man released 3 albums that year.
It also leaked, and it was so good that people were trading it online.
Yeah, the Mad Villain bootleg was definitely a moment in time. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you guys. I would never. It went up against Good Kid, Mad City in the final, you know, championship round, and I would not, turn my nose up at anybody who says that Good Kid, Mad City is also in contention for the album of the century, and even To Pimp a Butterfly, which I prefer as far as
I agree with you there.
But I guess it just really does. It speaks. It's a testament to the power of all of the elements that made Mad Villainy what it was, that like you could still have him go up against somebody who is arguably just like an excellent and career-defining artist like Kendrick Lamar, and still, you know, emerge victorious. So
I'm sure Kendrick's a Doom fan too. If we got him on.
Everybody's a Doom fan. Everybody's a Doom fan. Your favorite rapper is a Doom fan.
Yep.
And if they're not a Doom fan as an MC, they're probably a Doom fan as a producer. Period.
No, I get it.
I see Nina in the chat saying it should have been To Pimp a Butterfly versus Doom, and in my bracket it was, and that's why I'm here.
In mine it was as well. Yeah.
Mine. I was wilding. I had
Minstrel Show.
I had Minstrel Show in the finals with it.
Yeah,
but I knew Matt Villey was going to be the winner. Like it was just a matter of the path.
So normally in our round 2, we go into Picasso Baby, but I felt that would be a little bit too easy since we're only talking about albums from a certain era. So we're doing more choice, more yours. Okay. It is additional multiple choice for our second round. You guys are doing pretty good so far. Let's get into it. Speaking of Good Kid, Mad City, man, the fucking transitions, it's incredible. Prominently featured on several songs from Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, singer Anna Wise is also a member of this band. Is it Hiatus Coyote, Little Dragon, Sunny Moon, or the Yeah Yeah Yeahs?
It is not Little Dragon, because that's Yukimi.
I'm deferring because I
don't believe it's the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
I don't think it's Hiatus Coyote either.
I don't think it is. I'm gonna go with C, Sunny Moon.
Yeah, I think I'm rolling with C.
You're going C, Sunny Moon. Let's see.
Yeah.
Away. Sunny Moon is correct. All right. Very dope Brooklyn kind of multi-genre band. And yeah, Anna Wise obviously played a pretty pivotal part in both Good Kid, Mad City as well as To Pimp a Butterfly. She was pretty heavily featured.
I want to say she's on some other rap records or like tangential To Pimp a Butterfly stuff, but I could be incorrect on that.
I think she's definitely on at least one of the songs on Untitled Unmastered as well, which were recorded in the same sessions as To Pimp a Butterfly. But yeah, she's I don't know what exactly she's doing now or what she's up to, but shout out to her. Mm-hmm. We're gonna move on to question number 6. The Minstrel Show, Little Brother's major label debut, The Minstrel Show, featured this celeb as the host of the album's fictional television program. Was it Chris Hardwick, Diallo Riddle, Neil Brennan, or Peter Rosenberg, who played the host of The Minstrel Show on the album?
I want to defer to Dave, but I think it's either C or D. I can't quite remember.
Rosenberg was definitely on the album.
But my gut says that like Chappelle's Show was huge right then, and Neil was on Chappelle's Show in the mix. So I don't know.
I don't think it was Neil. I mean, it says in your host Chris Hardwick. But
is that what it says on the?
Yeah, it says at the intro. It says in your host Chris Hardwick. So
see that makes me think that it's Neil Brennan dissing Chris Hardwick.
Jesus.
Ooh, wow. Some strategies here.
And the problem is I should know this. It's probably A. I'm rolling with A.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the Minstrel Show probably as much
as
A.
Yeah. Peter Rosenberg wasn't the host.
On the
album. He did get promoted on May the Lord Watch.
Okay.
But true. He did appear on that.
He did get promoted on it, so I'm gonna do A.
You're gonna go A. I'm fine with that. Sure.
All right.
If I'm wrong, Fatel, let me know about it.
If it's C, I'm going to laugh.
I know you will.
Thank everyone for coming out to the Minstrel Show tonight, especially our guest,
Chris Hardwick. Little known fact, pre-cancellation Chris Hardwick, although maybe Chris Hardwick is back now. I don't know. But yeah, he was featured. You guys are right. Peter Rosenberg was also on the album. Neil Brennan would have been an interesting pick. Chappelle's Show was big at the time. Diallo Riddle would work with Fonte later on Sherman's Showcase. But yeah, Chris Hardwick did the voice. That was you guys had such plausible, theories for all of them that I was nervous to go anywhere at that point.
I knew Diallo wasn't it because of the Sherman Showcase work. So I saw how you threw that curveball, but I know it was the host Chris Hardwick. It was a matter of whether or not somebody was imitating. He almost convinced me. I was like, nah, I don't think Neil was on
it. He made such a compelling case for it, though.
He did.
Shout out to Neil Brennan. Great live if you ever have the opportunity.
I saw him at the Roost picnic. He brought out Dave Chappelle, and Chappelle came out for 2 jokes.
Yes. Dave, you had Minstrel Show pretty high up, as we said before. Talk about that. Is that your favorite Little Brother album?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And the thing is, like, it was gonna go far for me. Like, I'm looking at the bracket right now, and like that right side of that bracket, like once I picked RTJ2 over Outkast, I was done so because Outkast went pretty far, but I'm from the Carolinas. I went to A&T. The little brother went to North Carolina Central University. So I was been a fan of their work for a very long time since the beginning. So
Yeah.
and I was in college when they started gaining momentum, when the listening was coming out. So.
And there was a lot of kinship too, just especially amongst the internet and message board people and stuff like that. It definitely felt like we were watching something happen in real time. And when I can speak from my own perspective that like when they got signed to Atlantic, I felt like I got signed to Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, my God, like the internet won, like, and obviously they had an interesting career beyond that. But I'm a big Little Brother fan, and although I don't know if Minstrel Show is my favorite, in fact, I would say it's definitely not. But I understand why anybody would, count it as their favorite Little Brother album.
So which one? I'm assuming yours is what, the listening then?
I'm a big listening fan, and then if you want my super curveball hot take opinion, I even prefer Get Back to the Minstrel Show. I think Get Back is an underrated album.
I thought Get Back should have been on the list personally. I thought it should have made the cut, but I ain't got a bit in the Minstrel Show. But
okay,
I'm not mad at it. I think Get Back doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah,
that was at the point where Knife was out of the group.
Yeah, it was eclipsed by a lot of that drama. All right, we're going to move on to the final question in this round. Kanye West's 2011 single, All of the Lights, boasts a ridiculous number of additional vocalists. Which of these artists is not credited for lending their voice to the song? Is it Alicia Keys, Drake, Estero, or Elton John? All but one of these artists does backing vocals on this ridiculously overblown song. If I can say that in the most respectful way.
I will tell you now, the answer is not A or D.
Yeah, no, they got their publishing for sure.
Yeah, it's not A or D.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with C, just because I don't think Drake's not getting his money either.
Yeah,
I think
at that point,
I'm just going pure contracts here. I just think Estero's getting left out.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards C too. I at that point, Drake and Kanye wasn't beefing like that, so I'm leaning towards C.
All right, so let's see what the answer is, guys. The answer is Estero was not one of the featured vocalists on the record. Elton John is probably the most prominently heard. It's just a lot of, even in researching this question, I was like, wait, Drake did backing vocals on All the Lights? Like, I don't know if I have ever heard that and processed it, but liner notes don't lie, I guess.
2011 Drake. I mean,
Makes sense.
Care. Comeback Season was out. So Far Gone was out. Makes sense.
Yeah. What is Kanye's best record of? I guess you don't even have to say 21st century because he's only existed. Is it Dark Twisted Fantasy to you guys? What is the what's the one for you?
I might be a hot take for this one.
You go ahead, Dave.
Late Registration.
We agree.
Oh
wow. This buddy cop plot.
Yeah, this is working out, man.
It's like, wait, you have the tattoo as well?
Yeah. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is where I, controversially started paying less attention to Kanye.
I totally get it. I understand it.
I didn't have my Dark Twisted Fantasy getting past the second round, so I have Phrenology winning.
You picked one art record over another.
I did.
Yeah.
I went with popular opinion, thinking that most people, when they default to a Kanye record from like the first three, are going to default to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I feel like a lot of people don't remember College Dropout in the way that I would think they might. I mean, I went to Amoeba here in Los Angeles and bought the Con Louis Vuitton Don mixtape, physical hard copy. That's how big of a Kanye fan I was. Like, when I heard Through the Wire, I needed it, and I was like, oh, I wasn't illegally downloading things at that point, so or I was, and I couldn't find it, one or the other. But that one actually has like some Old Dirty Bastard stuff that he did. Called "Keep the Receipt." There's a Kanye Old Dirty Bastard song that I don't know if that ever came out, but College Dropout, I think, is very close neck and neck for Late Registration with me. I just think that the songwriting might be better on Late Registration.
Mm-hmm.
The rapping, bar for bar rapping might be better on College Dropout because it's more of that, but in terms of like Kanye moving a more pop direction, I think the songwriting is better on Late Registration.
I think that the rapping even is better on Late Registration, but I'm going to throw in a curveball here. My favorite Kanye album is Graduation. I liked it when he sort of simplified a little bit because he might have had more writing going on, but I don't necessarily think he was ever technically a great rapper. And I think when he loosened up a little bit on trying to be impressive and just was admittedly writing for the stadiums, I think that it worked to my ears a little bit better in his favor. So I'm a Graduation guy.
Yeah, like for me, Graduation, like I've always learned, like either you're going to have Graduation near the top of that heap or you're going to have it near the bottom.
Yep.
So for me, it's closer in the bottom. Like
Dom in the chat said that Graduation trimmed the fat. Do you agree with that, Dave?
Nah. There's some moments in Graduation that I think he could have trimmed a little bit more.
You don't got love for drunken hot girls? Let it be known then.
I do not.
I'm not mad at that, actually.
That's a tough sell in any market, I gotta tell you.
No, man. When you hear that Mos Def is on a song, that's not what you're looking for.
That was the second most disappointing Mos Def bait and switch. The first being seeing him being on Quality's Quality album, and I was like, yes, Black Star reunited once again. And then he was just doing a very simple hook. I forget even the name. It was like Pride or something. I forgot the name of the song. It was.
Yeah, I'm hearing it in my head, and I'm like,
I know how you feel. I know how. Yeah.
I was not happy.
But we digress. All right, we got to move on to our third round here, guys. The third round is our sample round. It is called Digging in the Crates. So in this round, I'm going to ask you a question and play you a sample, and you'll have to identify a question or answer about the sample. So let's get into it. Rhapsody's song, A Roller Coaster Jam Called Love, samples / interpolates elements from this R&B group. So I'm going to play you the Rhapsody song, and you tell me what group is sampled here. Is it En Vogue, Guy, Mint Condition, or Tony?
Insecurities don't help at all. There's still love there. Hope he don't stay upset for long.
I'm play it again.
I'm rolling with D.
You're saying D?
I'm inclined to say D as well.
All right, let's hear.
You know, I sometimes ask myself,
Tony is correct.
There it goes.
Let's get that.
Holy smokes. I had somebody, this isn't related necessarily to the sample, but somebody said to me that they were a bit upset and disappointed that there was only one woman who was on this. And I was like, all right, again, it's hard to trim these things down, but who do you think should have been, on this as well, a female artist? They never responded back to me. So I don't know. Do you guys feel like there were maybe other efforts by women that, could have been, if not on this list, close, like maybe in the top 100?
Off to the top of my head, Jean Grey and Quells Queers, Everything Is Fine.
That was definitely a dope record.
You could have put Eve there too for Rhapsody. You could put Eve there. You could have put both Rhapsody albums up there if you wanted to.
I don't know how controversial this is because this is a controversial person. but the music speaks for itself. I think Azalea Banks' Broke with Expensive Taste is probably one of the best rap albums of the 2010s.
That
I would put it in my top, in my Sweet 16 had it appeared just on the strength of it, maybe even Elite 8. I don't know that any human was rapping better in some respects around the time that she released that album.
That is true. I think a lot of her artistic merit does sometimes get eclipsed by the shenanigans.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, those are definitely some good picks. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. I want to be conscious, that it is a Friday night, and we could probably stay up all night geeking out over rap on the internet, but we're just gonna keep this rolling. Godson single "Get Down" finds Nas rapping over the same James Brown sample that was also popularized by this rapper in 1990. So I'm going to play you that Nas single, "Get Down" now.
New York streets were killers that walk like Pistol Pete and Pappy Mason. Gave the young boys admiration. Prince from Queens and Fritz from Harlem.
Was it Big Daddy Kane, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, or Ice-T?
But there's a long list of
It's T.
It's Ice-T.
Definitely not Ice-T.
Dope from the fly kid. The ice mic is back.
Ice-T, you played yourself.
What a song.
What a song. That was your West Coast antenna went up instantly on that one, Max. You're like,
Hey, that's your lane, man.
Don't judge me. I watch a lot of Law and Order,
That's right. I forget. If you watch the DVDs of Law and Order, at the end of every one, Ice-T breaks down one of his songs, and he's like,
that he does.
Hey, yeah. Nas was another guy who was on here a couple times. A lot of people were saying that some of the later Nas efforts, particularly Life is Good, should have been on here. We almost had it. It was close to our top 64. What did you guys think of Nas's last album, King's Disease? A lot of people were saying it was a strong effort. Other people were saying like, not really.
I can tell you a quick story about my situation with King's Disease. When I first heard King Disease, I loved it. And then Benny came out with an album with Hit Boy not too far after that. And the first thing I thought was, Nas could have gotten these beats. But it's still a good album. I thought he deserved a Grammy. He should have had a Grammy. I mean, I like the album.
I mean, I would say that I think it's not a controversial statement to say that he got the Grammy not because of the album King's Disease, but more because he should have got the Grammy.
Yes.
As you said.
Yes.
It was the Leonardo DiCaprio Revenant win.
Yeah, if they would have gave that one to D Smoke, I think LA might have been burning a little bit on that one.
LA expert in resident, Max, what is your take on that? What was your thoughts about the Grammy noms this year? Which, by the way, that feels like it was 38 years ago, right? Like,
I thought, I'm gonna be honest, this was one of the better 5 that they've done in a long time. But
yeah, I don't know. I could pretty much take or leave every Nas album for the last couple years. Life is Good. I enjoyed. It's unfortunate that what we know about him personally, in light of the cover of that record.
Right.
And a lot of other things. If we're just going to stick to Nas records that before we knew bad things, God's Son, I think, is one of the stronger Nas records in his catalog, which is what the song that you Get Down that you played from. That had 2 singles, I think, that were surprising to people. And I think it was better, one of the best mid-period Nas records. Like if I'm ranking Nas records, Illmatic, obviously the easy one. It was written a very close second, much closer than anyone gave it credit for at the time. But I
celebrating its 25th anniversary
today.
Yeah.
And Stakes is High. Don't forget
and
Stakes is High.
Don't forget De La, yeah. And then I'd say God's Son is third for me in the Nas canon.
Not mad at that. I would say at a glance, I would probably agree with that too. I don't revisit a lot of Nas albums. I don't either, man. You're not alone there. Hey man, listen, there were times and circles in my life where saying that was sacrilegious, but
I think it's a safe bet.
I feel like I'm in good company, but I don't want to say much more about it lest we get strung up by the trolls on the internet who may watch this at a later point. So
all Nas has to do is keep Rick Ross in the studio with him and just have Rick Ross pick all the beats for him. Or some rapper that knows how to pick beats for him. And I think he'll be fine. Like, I think he gets beat up. Like, we're never denying Nas as a lyricist. It's always about his production choices.
Production, or if he ever decides to rap about sex. Those are just bad decisions.
Dr. Knockboots, no thank you, we say. Yeah. And also, I would say that there was you are correct in that mostly the criticism, it's the beats that Nas gets criticized for. I would say sex raps in a close second. And then we'd be remiss to not remember the lead joint off of the Lost Tapes 2 that had him doing the triplet flow on the Al Jarreau sample. That was just a weird experiment that.
But the thing is, I won't kill him that bad because I'd rather him do that than him. Because sometimes I feel like when he tries to go commercial, he tries way too hard.
Sure.
Tries way too hard.
That Jay-Z Nas record from the Khaled album is one of the most disgusting things I've heard in a long time.
Oh God, I had even not.
I stopped listening to Khaled albums years ago, bro. So I don't have any. I'll stay away.
I'm glad there's no professional obligation on your end. Man.
Dom Sigler says we're killing Nas right now. Listen, man,
I killed him in this bracket too. I didn't have him going far at all in mine.
Yeah, I don't think he made it very far for myself either.
I'm looking.
They can't all be
Stillmatic. I gave Stillmatic over Rising Down. I think just out of.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. I knew. Why? You're the Roots expert.
Yeah. That's not a surprise.
I didn't do that. I think Stillmatic is severely overrated. We know why I got 5 mics in the source.
All right, we're gonna move on to our final question in our third round, and let's see what we got here. The drum break on Yoko Ono, Plastic Ono's band "Why Not" was sampled on a song by a Detroit rapper that featured this artist. So this is a little complicated. This is tricky.
Yeah,
we're gonna listen to this.
Very tricky.
We're listening to a Plastic Ono sample that was sampled on a song by a Detroit rapper that featured one of these guys on it. So I'm going to play you the drums first and foremost. A Detroit rapper featured one of these artists on these drums. Sorry to play so much Yoko Ono for you right now. Was it Killer Mike, Logic, Royce the 5'9", or Tyler the Creator?
And this is a sample from an album that appeared in the bracket.
It wasn't in the bracket, I will say.
See, now we're going off book here.
Now you're going off.
I thought we were doing.
No. I said I was keeping it in the era, not necessarily.
Okay, fair enough.
Gotcha.
Yo, man, I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna guess.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a Detroit rapper, that sounds like something that Black Milk would do.
Yeah, and if it was like a Detroit rapper.
Yeah, but I mean, he's rapper / producer, so I'm rolling with that. That sounds like something that Black Milk would do. Now,
let me play it again.
Can you tell me who produced the song, or is that giving away too much?
I cannot.
How many lifelines does one get on this show?
Jesus, man.
I mean, my default just says like he threw in Royce there just as a curve because
I don't think it's Royce.
I don't think it's Royce.
I'm thinking it's Tyler, but I'm probably wrong.
I hear him over those drums because it's a slower drum break. And
shout out to Tyler, man. He released an outstanding album last week.
He did, no question about that.
Yeah.
I don't hear Killer Mike over those drums.
No,
I gotta be honest.
I don't hear
Logic, I
Logic
just
either.
don't want to pick in general. I'm gonna go.
I'm going
D.
D, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go D.
Okay, they're going D. So, guys, the Detroit rapper that sampled this was Danny Brown.
Okay.
So very well
And
might be.
It could be Tyler then.
this is, you're going to know it when you hear it.
3 tears in a bucket.
Yep.
Fuck it. I don't care about nothing.
Let's kill it.
Killer Mike was featured on the 3 Tears in a Bucket song featuring Run the Jewels. You know, had to mix it up, guys.
We did.
I knew what I was doing.
Killer Mike was in the brackets. He had some
He
albums
was
in
in
there.
the bracket, yeah.
See,
He was in the bracket.
And so was Run the Jewels. So
It was Run the
I
Jewels.
mean, it was related. It was related. Who
Yep.
produced this? You said?
It was JPEG Mafia, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was pretty off kilter.
3 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. I don't care about nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
JPEG has this beat where he samples ODB's vocals. That's just phenomenal.
On what is it on?
Oh man, I want to say it's the record. It was like 2017. I'd have to look for you. I'll get it for you. It's
Yeah. Send it. I'd love to hear that.
incredible.
Well, guys, we've reached our final round, which is called Time's Up. So this is our speed round. You guys are going to have together as a collective 90 seconds to answer 5 questions in the category of your choosing. Here are the categories for tonight. Mad Lib Invasion, back to 2003, since this is episode 103, and Brooklyn MCs of the past decade. So you guys need to agree upon with yourselves which category you would like to collectively tackle.
Strategically, I'm gonna say that back to 2003 would probably serve us best in that like our strengths will shine through, you know, whether it's we wind up in Brooklyn land or we wind up in Mad Lib Invasion land. But you know, I Dave, what are you feeling?
We can roll with 2003. I'm
No,
trying in my
was there one that you were leaning towards because of your expertise?
No, because he like if I do Mad Lib, he's gonna crush me because he's gonna go with a lot of the instrumental stuff and I was
gonna say we get into Mad Lib's discography
it could get ugly quick.
We're gonna be really
it's gonna get ugly quick. The Brooklyn MCs of the past decade will be hard for me because the South ran it. So
yeah, I mean the last decade, I'm like Brooklyn. Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about?
I will assure you, I'm not trying to dissuade you here, but like their names, it's not going to be names that you've never heard before. But I think it's just it probably speaks to the lack of regionalism, where it's like, oh yeah, he's from Brooklyn. I didn't even know because you know.
Yeah, I mean, like if you even said New York MCs of the past decade, I'd be like, are we talking about Papoose? Who are we talking about?
Yeah,
I think 2003 is a safe bet for you guys.
Let's roll with 03. If we get if it's ugly here, so be it.
Yeah,
okay, so we're gonna. Yeah, I again, I appreciate your guys' strategy on this. You guys, you know, I think you're thinking the right thing in terms of, you know, what'll serve you the best. So let me just go over the rules for you really quick. You're going to have 90 seconds to answer 5 questions in this category. If you don't know the answer, you can say pass and we will come back to it. If you do answer incorrectly, now since there's 2 of you, I'm kind of going to give you like the space to one of you can say it and then the other confirms it. And if you feel like, oh wait, you're wrong, then you can hash it out there. But remember, it's time, 90 seconds. So let's not get through it. So it needs to be like you guys are both turning like the key to like turn the weapon. You know, I'm trying to make a reference here.
Dave's been killing it. I got faith in Dave. So
okay.
Gee, thanks. I appreciate that.
So
apply the pressure. Apply the pressure.
But if you answer incorrectly, then that question is done. So just keep that in mind. If you guys agree upon something and it's wrong, then that's what it is. I have OC's time's up here and it's time to 90 seconds. So when we stop hearing the iconic instrumental, we will know that our time is up. And of course, you guys have the chat. The chat is always here to help you. Sometimes the chat knows what they're talking about. Sometimes they will lead you to certain death. So, you know, we have an enthusiastic demographic, if not an always accurate one. So are you guys ready to do this?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got Max and Dave. They are doing back to 2003. 90 seconds is on the clock. And here we go. This rapper's debut studio album had the highest first week sales in 2003.
Kanye
50
West.
Cent.
Oh wait, no, yeah, 50 Cent. You're correct.
50 Cent is correct.
You're correct.
Nelly, P. Diddy, and Murphy Lee released the single Shake Your Tail Feather on the soundtrack to this 2003 action film.
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2?
Go wrote it. Yep.
All right, that is correct. According to Jay-Z's single 99 Problems, how fast was Jay driving when he got pulled over by a cop?
55 and a 54.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes.
All right. Outkast's double album, Speakerboxxx to Love Below, has 5 songs released as singles. Which side had more singles, Big Boy or Andre?
I want to say Andre. But your call, Dave. Or we can pass.
Pass it for now.
Pass it.
All right, we'll pass it for now. Name the two guest rappers who were featured on Bone Crusher's 2003 single Never Scared.
Killer Mike's one of them.
Lil Jon?
Lil Jon's probably the other. Killer Mike and Lil Jon.
Killer Mike and Lil Jon, yeah.
It was Killer Mike and T.I. I'll give you half credit on that.
Oh, man. I
All right.
up.
Who had more singles on Speakerboxxx Love Below, Andre or Big Boy?
There was I Like the Way You Move was a Big Boy single. Right?
Yeah, that's Big Boy. Hey Ya was out.
Andre.
Roses was Andre.
Roses was Andre. I want to say Andre. Ghetto Music was Big Boy.
Ghetto Music was Big Boy, but what's the fifth
That's
one?
a split. Yeah, because we're split right now. I don't know what the fifth.
It was Big.
Is.
I think it was Big Boy.
Let's go Big Boy. Let's go Big Boy.
Okay, guys.
Incorrect.
It was Andre.
Oh, it was Andre.
Because there was a split single that was released that was Prototype and Ghetto Music.
Oh, that is right.
Technically puts Andre one above. That's Andre had
I forgot.
Prototype.
Yeah, I forgot Prototype was a single.
You guys were so on the right track, and then it started to veer off. No matter what, I want you to know that you are champions in our eyes.
And he goes with the graduation song.
Of course. You knew what it was. I told you what it was going to be. I'm going to total up your score. Now, normally, we like to ask people who of their contemporaries or people that you guys know, who do you think we should have on the show next? So think it over, whether or not it's somebody you're a huge fan of, or maybe, artists or writers or media personalities or people that you think we should get. We operate well on the recommendation system here. So who should we have on the questions next, guys? Who would you challenge?
From some writers that I know, definitely Pete Tosiello. Who writes for Pitchfork and Passion of the Weiss. And I think he does book reviews for the Washington Post, but I don't know anybody that knows New York rap better than him in my circle.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you wanted like a guy that knows the South and West Coast rap, Tori McAdams, who used to write for a lot of different places, but is kind of, taking a sabbatical from writing, but still very active on Twitter.
Nice. You got to keep those Twitter fingers primed at all times. Dave, anybody that you would recommend to come on the show?
As a hip hop head, you've already had Questlove here. You need to get Black Thought here.
Brother.
I know you've probably been trying already.
Mike Eagle's been on the show, right?
Yeah, he's been on the show.
Was our
and then another one, like you've had Fonte on here. You should probably try to get Rapper up here too. Big Pooh.
Big Pooh is a guy that we should definitely have. Those are definitely good recs.
Has Shoes been on the show?
Shoes has been on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's another great guy.
Off top.
Yeah.
Sneak Mad Lib out of his closet.
Hey, we spoke with someone who is very close with and works with Madlib, and this was in the time period that we were doing this exclusively on Instagram Live, and he basically just told us that there was no chance in hell. Like, he was like, Madlib is not going to get on an Instagram Live.
Well, speaking of somebody who's close with him, Egon has he been on the show?
No, he hasn't, and he'd be great. Egon
would be phenomenal. He would crush this show.
Yeah, we'll put the feelers out there. It's always a push and pull on getting guests, but we've had a good run thus far.
Ryan Cross has been on the show.
No.
B+. I mean, nobody knows LA from like 90 to like 2000 better than Brian Cross probably.
Totally. Yeah, we should definitely reach out to him. So
has Knife been on the show yet?
Ninth hasn't either. Okay, now I feel like you guys are just underlining all the shortcomings of the people that
No, that's not the. You asked for
I named
recommended
several
versus
people that were on the show.
because
already.
Knife is a hip hop historian. Like that would make the most sense to get him up on here.
We'd love to get Ninth. There are things in the works. There's I'll sidebar with you guys later. So I am designating you guys Team Champ Bell. That is your handle or moniker. And you scored 11.5 out of 15. So you know what? I'm going to bump you up to 12 on that. Here's who you're in the 12 club with. Previous guests who have scored your cumulative score include Cosmo Baker, who might still be in the chat now. He's been popping up here and there. Bun B, Wally Sparks, Peter Rosenberg, RJD2, DJ Revolution, the Boom Bap Kids, Sean Sotero, Milo the Cat, Apathy, DJ Deadeye, Operator M's. You guys are in great company. I don't want you to feel like you are in anything but the winner's circle here, because it's fine company to be in.
Dave carried the team though, man.
I think in true buddy cop fashion, I think in true buddy cop fashion, you guys propped each other up as needed, and
absolutely.
Maybe there'll be a sequel, maybe there won't be, but first of all, congratulations and thank you, but even beyond congratulations, because I'm not writing you guys a check or giving you guys a car. So like, it's more so that I'm just appreciative to you guys and people like you who partake in, discussions that so many people that we might encounter in our lives in the real world feel are useless and fruitless and very important to us. So thank you, first of all, for doing that. And thank you for joining us tonight. This was really fun, and it's cool to put some faces and voices behind names that, I've seen a lot in internet circles.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Yeah, man, it was a great time, and thank you so much for all the effort that goes into, putting together the bracket, tallying the votes, doing the show. I know that it's probably a one-man job, and that's a lot of work for one man.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
I have one more question for you guys then. If we were to do a third bracket, like when we did this one that we just did, best hip hop album of the 21st century, and then we did one that was just best hip hop album, but we kind of skewed it a little bit by basing it on what like posts people had liked previously. So it was sort of like a weird, like you chose it before. So like in weird ways, like if like Nas's Illmatic didn't make it on there because it just didn't get as many likes as other posts did. So I say all that to say, if we were to do a third bracket topically, what do you guys think would be a good one for us to do? What do you think would be interesting for us to sort of determine the best of? And I realize I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, it just depends on how niche you want to get. Because like I would love, I did like a best G-Funk songs list with my homie Tori that I mentioned earlier for Fact Mag a few years ago. And like I would love to vote on the best G-Funk album. Like because there's a lot of material within this, from at least from like 91, if you want to say it starts with like, the first Quick record, and then going to at least, you can go all the way to YG's Still Brazy as like a neo G-Funk record. So there's a lot to cover there. And you're gonna get a lot.
Another way you could go too is you can go independent versus major, have two separate brackets, have an independent bracket, independent hip hop bracket, and do one for just the independents and do one for the majors. But we just saw with the 21st century, the independents can still win this thing because Villainy won this, but
yeah, then you have to get into a whole splitting hairs argument about what's independent. Chance the Rapper gets in there, and then it's all screwed up.
Oh, Chance, always screwing things up. Those are good ideas. I like those.
But I would pay to see a best of the indies. And if you could even group them by label. In the original ones, you have your Def Jux part of the bracket, you have your Stones Throw part of the bracket. That would be a really fascinating.
You could put Mellow Music Group in one of them.
Put Mellow Music Group in a definite shout out to Mellow Music Group. The best of the indie labels, and you could have each label battling in their own thing, and then them all kind of converging. It would stir the pot quite a bit.
Yeah, Dom said best producer on the Mike album. That would be so hard, man, because there's so many rapper producers now.
That's true.
You got to decide how you're going to count it. So, like, are you going to count Dre?
Are you going to count Madlib?
Mm.
And then which part of Madlib are you counting?
You got to count Quasimodo.
Exactly.
Lower Quaz, man.
These are all good ideas. I like the idea of sub-genre. I like the idea of the indie. These are ones that we've kind of I sort of have a short list now that I'm looking at. I also had sophomore albums.
Oh, I like sophomore albums quite a bit. I think that makes things fascinating.
Yeah,
sophomore slump is the cliche.
Yeah, you could do sophomore albums, man. Poor Hove.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about creating things that will hopefully move away from the same tired debates. You know, like
you could do one based on just hip hop groups too. Do like you could separate it. Like you can do 90s to 2000s, just groups. 21st centuries, just groups.
I'm predicting a runaway in the sophomore album for Marshall Mathers LP. I'm predicting.
If it makes the cut, it has to make the cut. It has to make the cut.
But is Marshall Mathers LP his second album or his?
Yeah, Slim Shady. It would be a Slim Shady
because of Infinite, right? You're referring to Infinite.
It'd be Slim Shady.
And then how do we possibly tackle Kendrick? You know, like
Kendrick would be good in Mad City.
That I guess, if you want to consider Overly Dedicated an album, but
I wouldn't count Overly Dedicated. In that case, you would say Section 80 would be a second one.
Yeah,
if you go
Section
over
80, you could go. I mean, sorry, I misspoke, but I was actually meant Section 80 when I said Overly Dedicated. But now we've unlocked, So.
Yeah, and that's a 10th, and it's a 10-year anniversary of Section 80 today as well.
It is. I'm just, anything if I can achieve the three point of the Venn diagram of something that gets people excited, something that gets people a little upset, and something that will have people I don't know on the internet telling me I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm wrong. That's like just the trifecta, the hat trick. So
by the way, man, even if you count Good Kid, Mad City as a second album, there's no way AT-Aliens is problematic. I'm gonna take
Dom is talking about it.
AT-Aliens is problematic. Like AT-Aliens is problematic. Oh my god!
Problematic in what respect?
Like I think AT-Aliens would go really far.
Oh, you're saying it's like a problem in like?
No, it'll be really.
What did they say?
No, as in like it'll go really far. Like Final Four easily.
So we'll explore. I mean,
I think sophomores. The runaway.
Man, that would be
stimulating the most discussion here.
The infamous.
I think that might be. Man. I mean, you can get some really fascinating. What do we get? What do we get from Ghostface? Sophomore album would be
Supreme Clientele.
Whoa, mine just. So
we're gonna see.
That's the one.
I like a few.
I think your biggest challenge is getting it down to 64.
Oh, guys, you have no fucking idea, and you are now corralled into helping me.
Free of charge, of course.
Yeah, congratulations, class. Sorry, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. This was a lot of fun. Make sure you guys follow ChampD1012 and the Max B. I
have one additional plug.
Okay.
Follow ChampD1012. That's my personal, but also follow my podcast, which is the Panther Nation podcast at Panther Nation PC.
Panther Nation PC. Follow it. It's a great anthropological podcast about panthers and I'm just
NFL and fantasy, baby.
Okay, we'll allow it. Shout out to everybody who watched on the various platforms. You can catch this. It'll be archived on our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. We have a lot of great guests booked. So we'll see you real soon. But thank you guys. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Y'all have a good one.